The relationship between American car companies and China, it's one of the most complex and consequential partnerships in the modern business world. Imagine a marriage of convenience, two partners drawn together by opportunity, not love. For years, this union thrived, but now, cracks are starting to show. What once seemed like a perfect match is now fraught with suspicion, disagreements, and the looming threat of a messy breakup. Politicians on both sides talk tough about decoupling, about bringing jobs and manufacturing back home. But for giants like GM, Tesla, and Ford, the reality is far more complicated. China isn't just another market, it's the beating heart of their global ambitions. Their supply chains, their profits, even their future innovations are deeply intertwined with the Chinese market. From batteries to electronics, so many critical parts are sourced or assembled in China. Over decades, these companies poured billions into China. They built sprawling factories, trained local workforces, and designed cars specifically for Chinese tastes. The scale of their investment is staggering. For a long time, China was the promised land, an engine of endless growth, a booming middle class eager for new cars, and the promise of huge profits that could make or break a company's global standing. But now, the landscape has shifted. Political tensions, trade wars, and rising nationalism have turned that dream into a high-stakes gamble. Every decision is scrutinized, every move could have global consequences. The very things that made China so attractive, its massive scale, manufacturing power, and government support, are now double-edged swords. They offer opportunity but also risk, uncertainty, and the threat of sudden policy changes. So, can these companies really quit China? Or are they so deeply entangled that leaving would mean unraveling their entire business? The stakes couldn't be higher. The answer to this question will shape not just the future of GM, Ford, and Tesla, but the entire global auto industry. It will determine where cars are made, how much they cost, and who leads the next era of innovation. This is a story of profits, power, and the harsh realities of global capitalism, where every decision is a balancing act between risk and reward, and the stakes are measured in billions. Buckle up, because this ride is about to get bumpy, unpredictable, and absolutely critical for the future of the industry. And yes, there will be tariffs, trade barriers, and plenty of drama along the way. The only certainty? The road ahead will test the strength of this unbreakable bond like never before. Why are American car makers so attached to China? The answer is simple: scale. But it's not just about the sheer number of cars. They're drawn by the promise of growth, opportunity, and a market that seems almost limitless compared to anywhere else in the world. China isn't just big, it's the world's largest car market, outpacing the US and Europe combined. Every year, millions of new vehicles hit the roads here, making it the ultimate prize for any automaker with global ambitions. For global automakers, ignoring China is financial suicide. The stakes are so high that even a small misstep can mean billions lost in potential revenue. It's a market that no serious player can afford to overlook. While US and European markets are saturated and growth has slowed, China offered explosive expansion for years. New cities, new highways, and a rapidly urbanizing population fueled a car-buying frenzy unlike anything seen before. Millions of Chinese citizens joined the middle class, and for many, owning a car became a powerful status symbol, a sign of success and modern living. This cultural shift created a tidal wave of demand that automakers rushed to meet. GM and Ford once dreamed of China sales dwarfing those at home, and for a while that dream became reality. Their brands became household names, and their profits soared as Chinese consumers snapped up their vehicles. China's manufacturing power is unmatched, making it a critical hub for global supply chains. The country's factories can produce cars and parts at a scale and speed that few others can rival. Parts made in China don't just stay in China, they end up in cars sold worldwide, from Detroit to Berlin. This interconnected web of production is the backbone of the modern auto industry. This vast network keeps costs down and profits up, allowing automakers to offer competitive prices while maintaining healthy margins. It's a delicate balance that depends on China's efficiency and scale. For GM, Ford, and Tesla, China isn't just another market, it's the engine room of their global operations, powering growth, innovation, and profitability on a scale that's hard to match elsewhere. The idea of quitting China? For years it was unthinkable. The risks were too high and the rewards too great to walk away from. But now, the stakes are changing. Geopolitical tensions, rising competition from Chinese brands, and shifting consumer preferences are forcing automakers to rethink their strategies. The The golden goose that once promised endless riches is suddenly under threat, and the future of the global auto market hangs in the balance. General Motors, or GM, was one of the earliest Western automakers to see the potential of the Chinese market. Long before many of its rivals, GM recognized that China's rapidly growing economy and rising middle class could transform the global auto industry. The company made bold moves, sending top executives to China and laying the groundwork for a future that looked incredibly promising. In the 1990s, GM dove headfirst into China, forming crucial joint ventures with local giants like SAIC Motor. These partnerships were more than just business deals. They were a gateway into a market that was, at the time, largely closed to foreign companies. GM invested heavily, building state-of-the-art factories and launching cars under familiar names. For years, the Buick brand in particular became a symbol of prestige and success among Chinese consumers, gracing the driveways of business leaders and government officials alike. At its peak, GM achieved what few could imagine. It sold more vehicles in China than in its home market, the United States. This was a staggering achievement that cemented GM's status as a global powerhouse. The profits from China didn't just boost GM's bottom line, they often kept the entire company afloat during tough times elsewhere. China became the financial engine that powered GM's global ambitions. But the landscape has shifted dramatically. Today, local brands like BYD and NIO are not just competing, they're leading. Their rapid innovation and deep understanding of Chinese consumers have started to erode GM's once dominant market share. Chinese automakers are agile, technologically advanced, and have taken a commanding lead in the electric vehicle revolution. They're setting trends, not following them. And their EVs are winning over a new generation of buyers. In comparison, GM's traditional brands, once seen as aspirational, now appear outdated next to the sleek, high-tech electric vehicles rolling out of Chinese factories. The joint venture model that once opened doors for GM now means sharing profits, technology, and even decision-making power, an arrangement that's becoming increasingly controversial amid rising political tensions. Meanwhile, tariffs and relentless price wars are squeezing profit margins, making it harder for foreign automakers to compete on price and value. GM is now racing to reinvent itself, pouring resources into electric vehicle development and trying to reclaim its innovative edge. The company is determined to defend its legacy, but the competition is fiercer than ever. The golden era that once seemed endless is fading fast, leaving GM facing an uncertain future in a market it once dominated. The old giant, once a symbol of American industrial might, now finds itself in a tough spot, struggling to adapt, fighting to survive, and searching for a new dream in China. Tesla's China story is unique. In 2019, it built a wholly owned Shanghai Gigafactory, no local partner required. The Chinese government welcomed Tesla, offering land, loans, and fast approvals. The factory became Tesla's most efficient plant, producing cars for China and the world. China gave Tesla the scale to become a global force, but success brought new risks, political tensions, data scrutiny, and fierce local competition. Tesla's rivals, BYD, NIO, XPeng, now offer comparable EVs, often at lower prices. BYD has even surpassed Tesla in global EV sales. Tesla is locked in a price war, slashing margins to stay competitive. The former darling is now a defender, fighting to keep its crown. In China, even the disruptor gets disrupted. The game has changed. Ford's China story is a cautionary tale. Arriving late and lacking a clear strategy, Ford never captured Chinese consumers' imagination. Its market share has dwindled, and sales have plummeted. Billions invested, little return. China has been a financial drain. Ford's electric offerings like the Mustang Mach-E flopped in China. They're too late to the EV race and their gasoline cars are losing ground. Now, Ford faces a painful question. Is it even worth staying? Some analysts say it's time to cut losses and focus elsewhere. Competing in China without a winning product is nearly impossible. Ford's struggle is a warning for all latecomers. Today, American automakers in China face a triple threat. First, trade tensions and tariffs disrupt supply chains and financial planning. Second, political pressure from both Washington and Beijing puts them in the crossfire. A single diplomatic spat can trigger consumer boycotts or regulatory headaches. But the biggest threat is local competition. Chinese brands like BYD, Geely, and NIO are now global powerhouses, fast, innovative, and deeply attuned to local tastes. They offer high-tech, affordable cars that outpace foreign rivals. GM's market share is shrinking, Tesla is in a price war, and Ford is overwhelmed. Being a big American brand isn't enough anymore. To survive, you must out-innovate and outpace a swarm of hungry local competitors. The rules have changed. The future of cars is being written in China, not Detroit or Silicon Valley. The Chinese government's long-term strategy, subsidies, R&D, and charging infrastructure has paid off. China now leads the world in EV adoption and technology. Local brands deliver smart, connected cars that Chinese consumers love. For American automakers, this is a seismic shift. Their expertise in gasoline engines is now a disadvantage. GM and Ford are scrambling to catch up, while BYD and others build new EV plants and lead in battery tech. Tesla sparked the EV craze but now faces a legion of fast-moving competitors. The result? A brutal price war and razor-thin margins. China's EV revolution has created the world's most dynamic and most difficult auto market. The old playbook no longer works. Adapt or get left behind. Should American carmakers stay in China or try to decouple? The case for staying China is the world's largest market, and leaving means shrinking into a regional player. Profits from China fund innovation and R&D back home. Competing in China forces companies to innovate faster, lessons that matter globally. But the risks are mounting geopolitical tensions, price wars, and intellectual property concerns. For Ford, leaving might make sense. For GM and Tesla, the calculus is tougher. Some advocate a China plus one strategy, keep a presence in China, but diversify manufacturing to other countries. This reduces vulnerability to shocks and tariffs. It's expensive and complex, but increasingly attractive. The golden age is over, now it's about survival and adaptation. There's no easy answer, every path is risky. The next moves will define the industry's future. So what have we learned? GM, Tesla, and Ford are deeply woven into China's auto market. For years, China was the answer to growth and profits. Now that foundation is shaking. GM is fighting to defend its shrinking kingdom, Tesla is battling new rivals, and Ford is questioning its place. There's no simple solution. Leaving China could mean ceding the future to powerful local companies. Staying means navigating political minefields and brutal competition. The golden age is over. The choices ahead are tough and risky. The next few years will shape not just these companies but the global auto industry. As consumers, we're watching the biggest gamble in automotive history unfold. The stakes? Nothing less than the future of the car. Buckle up.